Jennifer, and this is the Science Makes Sense series, and the purpose of this series is to be able to help you succeed in all of your science exams. And as a tutor of biology and chemistry and physics in various capacities over the last 10 years, I've come across many students who've had the same common problems in terms of answering some key questions that often reoccur in exams, and they say to me, how on earth do I tackle question X and how do I apply my knowledge to question Y? So I'm inviting myself into your home as a personal tutor of sorts to help you to be able to succeed with those specific questions. But this episode today is just an introduction, and so what I'm actually wanting to do instead is to give you some more generic advice by just looking at how you actually answer exam questions as a whole. So this won't just apply to science exams, it will actually apply to everything that you have to be able to do in terms of your exams for your other subjects as well, and for even exams that you may take completely outside of academic education. So there are 5 steps that you need to be able to follow, and I'll take you through each one and why each one is important. And then I'll give a summary at the end in terms of what all those different points were. So the first is read the question. Now, that might seem like the simplest of things and the most obvious, but often in a situation like an exam where you feel that you're under enormous pressure, you tend to miss those very simple tasks and tend to rush in terms of reading your exam questions and tend to miss the key points that will actually help you to answer the question properly. So it's really important that you take time to take in each of the words and make sure that you've really understood it before you attempt to answer the question. So that then brings me to point 2, which is to read the question again. Now, why do I say that? Well, what's important about that second reading is that it helps you to do the following 3 things. Number 1, underline key words. So all those terms that are within the question that are specific to that particular subject area are important because they help you then to ensure that you mention those specific points in your answer, so they make your answer much more succinct and much more focused. Number 2, underline key pieces of data. There will be questions where you have to be able to perform calculations or where you may have to make comparisons of data from graphs and tables. So it's really, really important that you take time to just highlight for yourself what those pieces of information are. Number 3, ensure that as a whole, the question has actually made sense to you. So by looking at the pieces of data and the keywords that you have underlined, then ask yourself, can I truly form sentences from what I've seen? Can I actually make sense of what I'm being asked? So that takes me to point 3, which is be confident that you can answer the question. So there's 2 levels to what I'm saying in this, which is that, as I said already from the second point, if you've underlined your keywords and key pieces of data and despite that, what you've read actually isn't quite making sense, this is a point to maybe stop and reevaluate what you've read and try to think more about some of the knowledge that you've been studying in your books before actually attempting to write down your answer. The other aspect of that is actually just thinking about the psychology behind taking exams. It's really important that in as much as you've done all the reading and studying in the world to be able to get to this stage, that you are confident in the knowledge that you have and that you are confident you are able to apply that knowledge and put it on paper and produce an answer that's going to get you the most marks. So it's really essential that you have the right mindset when you approach your questions. Number 4, answer the question. Now, when I say that, I am being so serious. Please see what I am saying. And it's just because you would be surprised how many people, and I'm sure that I can definitely put my hands up and say I've done this once or twice before, I will answer something that may be in some way relevant to the topic that relates to the question I'm being asked, but has nothing to do with the actual question. So it's really important that you answer exactly what you asked. And by highlighting those keywords and underlining all of those key pieces of data, that, as I said, helps to focus your answer. So please make sure that when you have answered your question, you are truly answering what you've asked. Number 5. Read through your answer. Now, this is not a point that's often given at this stage. Often teachers will advise you to answer everything and then read through your answers at the end. But I cannot stress to you how much of a mistake this can often be when you're taking exams. And that's just simply because we're humans. Exams are tiring. Exams are long. Exams are stressful. By the time you get to that last question, I don't know about you, but this is what I want to do. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. Don't ask me any more things. Don't make me do any more activity. Let me go home. So it's really important that rather than getting to that stage and attempting to answer the question, that you're doing this as you go along. And as you do, consider the following. Does your answer actually make sense? So does it make sense scientifically? Have you included all of the key terms that are appropriate for that question? Does it make sense grammatically? Have you actually structured your sentence properly? That's particularly important if you're answering questions in prose where you have quality of written communication marks, because you will lose those marks if at any point you misspell anything or you've inappropriately structured your sentences. And make sure it makes sense mathematically. Check your answers and see, in terms of your calculations, are your answers actually correct in terms of what you've calculated? Are you out by factors of 10? Did you misuse one of the pieces of data that you've extracted these numbers from for your calculation? Check every single aspect of your answer before moving on to the next, so ensure that everything about it gives you the most marks, because it would just be such a shame for you to wait to the end and just be skim reading through everything and then make global losses across the paper. Whereas if you're going through each answer as you're going along, even if there's any questions that you missed out, you know that for the ones that you have answered, you've done everything you can to ensure that you've got every score possible from it. So that's the end of this episode for this week. Please like and subscribe my channel, and if there are any key questions that you'd actually like me to make a video on, please let me know. There's a little section at the bottom where you can make a post and I will do my best to be able to create a video for you. So see you in the next video.